Welcome everyone back to another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video. My name's D-Free. Here today we have some news courtesy of I Seriously. He does mention that during the event period for the 4-year anniversary, there will be a brand new boss rush stage. The boss rush should benefit from a new level during the 4 years on the JP version. The event will be unavailable from the January 27, excuse me. And people were asking about that because the event did have an end date on it, I believe in the news announcement. So there was that. Anyways, then should return days later. Obviously, no info on bosses/rewards. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to transition into talking about, and by the way, check out iSerious. The link is down below. Anyways, we're going to talk about the different stages because believe it or not, there are actually a lot of bosses that qualify to be part of the new boss rush stage. Now, he doesn't mention whether or not there's multiple. It's going to have a new level is what he says, so I'm going to assume that only one more will get added. And of course, they're going to take their time. As you see, they don't update boss rush super often. They're going to take their time, and out of all of the characters that are eligible to have their event featured in boss rush, they'll obviously eventually, most likely, obviously, I don't know, eventually they should, is what I'll say, get added to a boss rush stage later on. So I was actually surprised by this when I went through and looked at it because the current boss rush actually ends with these events here. So we have, let me go ahead and zoom in a bit. We have SS3 Bardock, we have Hirudegarn, we have the Vegeta and, Vegito and Rose. We also do have LR Gogeta. Notice there is no LR Vegito boss fight. I don't know if that's because there was a Vegito here last time and now there's another Vegito and maybe they just didn't want to include him. But he is also eligible to be one of the bosses in this next event. So we're going to look at a ton of different stuff because really what they've done here was they haven't really delved into categories yet. At the time this event was added, they didn't add many categories. So when you take a look at the previous one, there was a handful of them here too, though. So we have categories here. We get into this period where we have the categories still, and then we get into extreme and hero type stages, which also do have new leaders and stuff like that. There weren't too many category leaders here in this second one. So moving on from that, they already did all the 120s and stuff like that. So none of these older events are going to be eligible. But Boss Rush Level 7 should include several different units. So we're just going to go ahead and, like I said, rattle them off. But just notice that LR Vegito was not here already. And there could potentially be another banner that didn't get implemented. I'm not going to go too far back. Forgive me if I happen to miss one, though. But see, even like around here, Hirudegarn got added. SS3 Bardock got added. Yeah, they did pretty much handle everything that they needed to up to that point. So Super Vegito was in the previous one. They pretty much handled everything they needed. So we're all the way back in last year. This is where things are now. We were in the 3-year celebration looking at banners from there on. And we take a look at the banners that have come out throughout the year, and literally all of them are eligible. Of course, Global's a little bit different because they now have hit. JP should eventually get that. But anyways, things did happen a little bit out of order, excuse me, in a different order on the global version. So we do have the LR Vegito right here. He's, again, eligible as a option. So we're going to actually just kind of open them all up to kind of take a look at them. And then I'll give you guys brief predictions for who I think the 5 will be. And then we get into type banners and stuff like that. None of this matters. These LRs don't have specific events, so they don't qualify. But UI and Jiren both qualify because they both do not have a boss fight. And if they wanted to make Boss Rush difficult, quote unquote, I don't see them not including those events because a lot of people do consider those 2 events to be the hardest events in the game, and Metacooler's probably up there somewhere too. But we're going to go ahead and just bounce this open because both of those do qualify as new events that should be implemented. Also, we have Turles. Now, I have a sneaky suspicion Turles makes it in, but I'll come back to that. I don't really think Turles is going to be the hardest part of that, but he could make it in, I guess. He's going to be kind of gimmicky just because of the way his event functions with the healing and stuff like that towards the end, with the asterisk around that, if you don't wind up beating him beforehand, right? So that's a possibility too. Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, his Dokkan event did come out throughout the year, and he did not get implemented as a boss rush stage, so he is eligible as well. And then we're going to scroll up a little bit more. We will take a look at Future Gohan, who's another applicable one. Please put him in just so I can listen to his music. The music is amazing. I love it. Favorite one in the game. Let me know in the comments down below which OST is your favorite. And let me know, by the way, which events you think will make it in. But listen to what I got to say. Maybe I'll change your opinion. Maybe your opinion will be the same as mine, though. Anyways, we do have SS4 Goku here. So full power SS4. We are going to add him to our list of new stuff. We also have Android 17. There's actually a lot of events, as you see, that actually do qualify, right? There are a lot. I'm not really going to consider, things like this that don't really have dedicated banners. The LRs are throwaway events. Not LR, not throwaway, but you get my point. So then we have the Goku and Frieza. I kind of think thematically they're going to make it in there, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But we have those two, which is the Dual Dokkan Fest, of course. And then we scroll up a bit more. We have more of these type banners that actually don't appear as often as they once did. We have Super Boo now. Look at all of these events. There are so many. I didn't know that I was in for this. We have Metacooler now. We're getting to more relevant stuff. This is just a couple of months ago in the timeline of Dokkan. And then we scroll up a little bit more. Goku Black as well. And then we have, among the last ones, who is it? Oh, it's these. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay. There are a lot. There's a lot. And these are the most recent. There are a lot of events in consideration. So let's go back over here and try to notice a trend. I think they typically try to include, though, one event per element. So this first one didn't really have that. Well, no, they did STR, Tech, Physical, Int, and AGL. So that's all there. This one's irrelevant because they just threw all that stuff together. Although, to be fair, don't sleep on the possibility of them doing another longer boss rush like this, because they haven't done one since. This was the only one that was long like this. They could do a boss rush where they just kind of throw in older events, and not older events, but like combine a couple of boss rush levels. So consider that too, because they haven't really, again, done that for a while. So we have that. We have all of these 120 or 100% demigods. They don't count. Actually, no, this was the last one here with the Trunks. Excuse me. I forgot all about this one. Well, they added Trunks, and obviously at this time we were like, oh, there's going to be more because they left the spot open. And then we move into this period where we get these units. And they did not wind up doing one, cumulative one for the 120 leaders. These are all the 120s. But again, they're still doing the trend of doing, for the most part at least, every single typing. So STR, AGL, Physical, Tech, and Int. And then again, AGL, Int, STR, Physical, and Tech. They're still doing it. Then we come down here. They break that a little bit here. There was no AGL. I think that the reason why this one didn't have AGL is because for a while there wasn't an AGL Dokkan Fest. So there was that. And then we get over here. Hirudegarn technically is the AGL, but still at this point there really wasn't an AGL Dokkan Fest. It was a while where we just didn't get AGL units. So I think that now that we have actually a few eligible AGL units, Vegeta, Turles, Gogeta, we're going to obviously get at least one of them. So I think that this event is going to be a shoo-in just because it never got included in the previous one. So I'm going to immediately count that as my Int type event. We're going to scoot this one way off to the side as my Int type event, which means that, yes, if they are going to continue the trend, that would mean that a unit like UI Goku gets bumped, unfortunately. But I really don't know. It's all speculation. But again, I would love to see these two and just in general in there. Like, if they wanted to make it as difficult as possible, they would do these two. They'd do Gogeta and Broly. And then, because they're all opposing types. Int, STR, Physical, and AGL, then we would need a Tech type event, and that's easy to find, right? So it would be good. If they wanted to do that, don't sleep on the possibility of making it super hype and super hard, including the most recent stages and then two of the most difficult older stages as well. But that would bump him. I thought Turles would be a good inclusion until I realized how many AGL units are there, because they love Turles, and at some point he should be in the boss rush. So for now, though, he's eliminated. And if we're choosing a unit like Gogeta, and if we're, again, focusing on having one per element, that would also, eliminate this man here. So, sorry, I'm choosing Gogeta just for the record. But to be fair, Gogeta could be too new. He might wind up being saved for another boss rush. So that would mean that if I had to choose between Turles and SSBE, SSBE would be it. So you know what? I'll redact that. Gogeta, I am not going to include right now. Gogeta and Broly, I will not include just because they're way too new. They just came out. So I don't know if they really have interest in putting them on. But I think AGL and Int are set with those two events. But again, UI Goku, very, very good sleeper candidate. Now, we have Gohan here. I don't really know if... It's between Gohan and 17. I think they're the only physical types that came out. Yeah, they are. I would love to see Gohan, but I kind of have a feeling that maybe 17 makes it in. But for now, I'll say Gohan just because of my own personal bias. And, another thing I just kind of realized is when we come to looking at AGL and Tech, I still really think that thematically these two make it in because they're a package. They were a package event. They were dual Dokkan Fests. And then if you look at the history of the dual Dokkan Fest, for the most part, they both make it in. And the same thing kind of happened with Vegito and Rose together. But again, it's kind of hard to tell whether or not that was due to lack of stages to implement, because at times that was the issue, or just kind of thematically, right? So again, I think they're a package, but there's a possibility they get broken up. But I'm still not choosing either of these two as my tech events. I would say I think this is going to be the tech event, just because it's Tech Goku. He has a few rounds to his event, and he's not just singularly one type. That's the issue with these events. They're just one type throughout the entirety of the event. And then we have Super Boo here, who oh man, there's another AGL unit. This is actually really, really hard. This is way harder than I thought it would be. Oh man, I have to decide. We're gonna take these three so far, and I still think they get in. But really, it's starting to look like maybe, I don't know. I'd have to, and then also again, there's an element to choosing two new events, which is why Goku Black might not be in, because he's also really recent. So for that same vein, I'm gonna bounce Cooler too. We're gonna stick to some of the older events that came out a little bit ago. And we also do need an STR event. So really, the STR event would be Jiren. That's what I'm gonna say. I'd say that the STR event would be Jiren, just because we are lacking 4 STR units. Actually, it's between Jiren and Super Boo. I think those are the only ones. So it's between those two, and I would say that Jiren comes out first just because he came out first. So that would be my answer. But let me know what you guys think. Wow, that was a lot more than I thought. I'd have to really sit down and put thought into it and have to look at release dates and stuff like that. But again, I tried to mainly stick to banners that were a little bit older. There could have been some that I considered that were older than the ones that I, wound up putting in. Maybe the ones I put in were a little bit newer. That's fair, but we'll see. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch all of you in the next Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video. And remember, let me know what you guys think, what you want to see, and we'll go from there. But just know, as part of the celebration, there will be a new stage nonetheless in a few days. All right, take it easy, everybody.